All right, so if you're a visual learner and you like to visualize chord shapes and chord voicings and patterns when you're improvising up and down the neck of the guitar, you're going to love this week's lesson. Even if you're a beginner and you're just getting into this will be something that you can follow along with and hopefully understand and apply to your playing. That's why I do these lessons, is to give you ideas for how to use this stuff in your own playing, so that if you're improvising or writing your own music, you'll be able to do that and understand where it all comes from. And so we're going to take a very simple concept of a 1-4-5. That's the format that's used in country and rock and bluegrass and blues and just about any style of like roots-based music. And we're going to break it down. I'm going to take everything that I play in the intro and break it down note for note and show you how to play it all. And we're going to start with one finger. I mean, it's that simple. We're going to start with one finger in one position. That'll be our one chord. It's going to be a triad. We're going to add some embellishments to that. And then we're going to add our 4 chord and our 5 chord. But it all starts in that one finger or that one root fret. I mean, it's really that simple. So in this video, we're going to go through everything that I played in the intro. We'll break it all down note for note. If you'd like to download the tablature and also access the on-screen tab viewer for this, you can get those things by going to activemelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP446. Okay, so this song is played, or at least we're going to start off by playing this little 1-4-5 in the key of E. But that doesn't really matter, because you can transpose this and play this in any key. And I made this intentionally without any open strings so that you can just move it up or down the neck and play in any key. And I'll explain what that means. You're going to totally understand what that means as you get into this. So, if we're playing in the key of E, when I talk about a 1-4-5, the 1 chord is your E chord, the 4 chord is an A, and a 5 chord is a B. So E, A, and B are the chords. That's our 1-4-5. And you can imagine, like, whether you're playing country or playing blues or whatever style, 1-4-5. That's what, that's where that comes from. Now, if we look at the E chord, when you play an E chord, if I said play an E chord, most of us would play an E chord like this. And there's different ways we can play an E chord. We can play it up and down the neck. There's a triad, though, that you need to know, and that's up here on the 9th fret, where you bar the first 4 strings, but we're going to play strings 4, 3, and 2. We're not playing the first string, but that triad is an E chord. And you can think about that triad as coming from your A chord shape. If you know that your CAGED system, for those of you that know that, the A shape has where you bar there, that's where that little triad lives. Also, it's in the G shape. So if you know your G shape out of the CAGED system, that same triad is in there. It actually, you can share that triad between the G shape and the A shape. But another way to think about this is to think about the note itself. So that's an E chord. So where's our E note? It's on the 3rd string. So if you know the note names on your 3rd string, hopefully you're starting to get where I'm going here, then you know how to find the major chord for that note name. For example, if I know that this note, like the 7th fret 3rd string, is a D note, if I played that triad here, 4, 3, and 2, strings 4, 3, and 2, that's a D chord. So D note, D chord, right? That's a C note, C chord. So it's important to know your note names, obviously, on all your strings. Most guitar players, there's a little hint, if you don't know the note names on your 3rd string, you're not alone. Most of us don't know our note names on some of the strings. The 3rd string is one of those. It's just we don't think that way. A lot of us don't anyway. But a lot of us do know the note names on our 6th and 5th string. So here's a way, if you know the note names if you know the names of the note on your 5th string, here's how you can quickly find it as a reference. So if I'm playing the 3rd fret 5th string, that's a C note, I'd come up 1, 2 frets, and then I'd go up 1, 2 strings. That's a C note there, an octave higher. C, C. Right? Same thing like D note, right? E, E. So anyway, if you don't know the note names on your 3rd string, you can use that as a quick reference guide, I guess. So that's our first thing, is finding that E triad up here on the 9th fret. So that's going to be our 1 chord. And when I started this, I slid into it like this. Now there's another little tip. So when you're playing this triad, and anybody can do this, one finger, right? It's just in one spot. You can slide into that. You can slide into any chord, by the way. And this is why it's nice to know these chords that don't have open strings. Like try to slide into a G chord. It doesn't work, right? Because you got these open strings. But if I played a G chord up here, I could slide into it. Okay, so we slide into the chord, and then I come up here with my pinky to the 12th fret 2nd string. And then watch this. Then I come down to the 10th fret 2nd string, do a pull off, and then play the 3rd string. The whole time though, I'm keeping that bar there. I'm keeping the bar on the 9th fret and playing that, keeping down that, that E triad. So all together I have. And these are just little notes that you can think of as embellishments. Now I know somebody out there is going to go, wait a minute. Where did those notes come from? I realized a long time ago that off of this triad I can connect my scales. So I connected the major scale off of this triad. You've also got your major pentatonic scale. Right? So that's a sidebar. That's another lesson probably I'll have to do at some point. But for now, that I just wanted to mention that. That's where those notes are coming from. Okay, so that's the first thing I did. Then the second time, now this is where it gets interesting. Watch this. So now we went to the E7 chord. So if this is our E chord, I can put my ring finger, I can put any finger down on the 10th fret 1st string, and that converts that chord into a 7, a dominant 7 chord. That's your kind of bluesier sounding chord. So that's an E, that's an E7. And so the way that I played that goes like this. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now for the 4 chord, we're about to go to the 4 chord, which would be our A chord. I could come down and do the same thing I was doing here, everything that I did, but do it down here. Because watch this. A7. So somebody, a light bulb just went off for somebody, and you go, oh, okay, wait a minute. I get it. There's your A chord. You know that A chord, right? You know that voicing down in position, in this position. So if you're playing this up here, you're playing out of the caged thing. You just probably weren't connecting the dots maybe. So you're using the chord shapes out of caged. That's all caged is just repurposing this stuff, that first position stuff that you learn in different spots. And so that's an A, that's an A7, that means that's an E, that's an E7. Okay, so instead of me going from the E chord to the A chord like this, making that huge jump, I need to find an A chord up here. I need to stay in this neighborhood. We're in this zip code right now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the bar down, but I'm going to play this. There's an A chord. While I've got this bar down, I can put my middle finger on the 10th fret 2nd string, my ring finger on the 11th fret 4th string, and that playing that triad, those same strings, 4, 3, and 2, I'm now playing an A chord. And this would be the C shape out of caged. Look at my fingers right here, these three, middle, ring, and pinky. If I were to play a C chord in first position, using those same fingers, I'm doing that up here, barring where the nut would be, and now I'm playing an A chord. But I don't need my pinky, I don't need to do all of them. All I'm trying to play is this triad. So that's my A triad to get to the 4 chord. And just like we did with the 1 chord when we played the E7, we can do the same thing here by adding our pinky to the 12th fret 3rd string. So that converts that A triad, or the A chord, into an A7. So now I can play kind of a Carl Perkins sounding thing, sort of a rockabilly thing. So you slide into the chord, and then put your pinky down, 12th fret 3rd string, and then play 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 3. So it's like this. Okay, so from the beginning, Now we'll go back to the 1 chord. And I do the same thing. Just slide into the E chord, 12th fret, 2nd string with my pinky. Now watch this. Then I went little country lick there. And what I'm doing there is I'm holding my pinky down. Now that note stays down the whole time. And then I take my ring finger on the 11th fret, 3rd string, and I push that and do a full bend there. And so I'm playing that full bend while I'm playing the 12th fret, 2nd string. A bend and release. And then I come down and play the 9th fret, 3rd string while I'm playing the 12th fret, 2nd string. So, and that's how that sounds. It's kind of a, you know, a pedal steel sounding lick. And then after that, the song goes to the B chord or our 5 chord. Now watch this. This is where it gets interesting. So I'm playing the B chord like this. And so I've got my same bar. That bar stays the whole time, right? 9th fret, first 4 strings. But to play the B chord, using this triad, using strings 4, 3, and 2, we keep the bar there, and then I've got my pinky on the 12th fret, 2nd string, and I've got my ring finger on the 11th fret, 3rd string. Now somebody out there is going, how the heck is that a B chord? Well, first of all, it's more like a B5, like a B power chord, because it doesn't have the 3rd in it. But you could consider that a B chord. And what's cool is, if I take my pinky up, I keep my ring finger, and then I put my middle finger down on the 10th fret, 2nd string, it's like a B7 chord. So you got your B chord and a B7 chord. Now, if you're asking how in the heck that's a B chord, well, if we go back to the CAGED thing again, these 2 fingers, actually all of this that I'm making here would be considered like the D shape out of CAGED. So you can think of, there's your D chord in first position. If you play it up here, you're playing a B chord. And then you've got these 2 extra notes here. Just think about your D chord in first position. If we were to think of our nut as being where our finger would be, if we were barring, you know? So you've got the same thing here. So that's what's going on. And I'm not using that 5th string. I'm just playing strings 4, 3, and 2. So that's where that's coming from. And then when I switch to this, to play the B7, think about your D7 chord in first position. That would look like this, right? So if we just played strings 2 and 3, it's those 2 notes. There's my bar there. So hopefully you're starting to see what's going on. So that's your B chord, and that's your B7. And look at where this all is. It's all in the same area now. So you've got this 1 triad. There's your 1 chord, right? Here's your 4 chord. Here's your 5 chord. Back to your 1 chord. And I can play this in any key now, anywhere on the neck. If I wanted to play this, I'm playing this in E now. If I wanted to play it in D, there's my 1, 4, 5 in the key of D. If I wanted to play 1, 4, 5 in the key of C. So hopefully you're going, oh my gosh, this is like unlocking, in a way, this is like unlocking the entire fretboard. I mean, it's a very, very simple sounding little rhythm thing, but there's a lot to this. And the next level to this would be connecting scales to each of those chords so that you can play through the chord changes. So that's a whole other thing, but all of this is possible, but it starts by understanding your 1, 4, 5. Okay, from the beginning. Here's your 7. Back to the 1. 5. And then the way I ended it went like this. So it's just from the 5, 7, the 5 dominant 7, or the B7, I went, and I lifted my middle finger, and then I came back to this note, which is my E note. So I went, and the final little tag there goes like this. So I kept the bar, never left that, and slid up here to the 12th fret 4th string, and I'm playing strings 4 and 3. Actually 4, 3, and 2 will work. That's just another E7. Then I came down. So it's 12th fret, 11th fret, 10th fret on the 4th string. Now this little lick is a bluegrass lick. I got that from Bill Monroe. That's from Bluegrass Stomp. If you're a mandolin player, that's how he plays it. If you listen to the song Bluegrass Stomp sometime, you go on Spotify and you'll hear that little lick. Now he's playing that, I think, in the key of D. But anyway, it's a mandolin lick, but it translates. And when I was kind of going through this, I heard that as a tag. It just sounded like something I should do. So that is a 1-4-5 in the key of E, and it's all played in this one area, and the whole time I'm keeping my index finger down, really. I mean, for the most part, that really never leaves. But hopefully you're connecting that bar is what the nut is down here. So if I were to play G, C, D down here, that's a 1-4-5, and this nut is always in play. So in other words, if I were to play the G chord with my index finger down here, there it is. Here's the C chord, and then here's the D chord. I'm doing the same thing I was doing up here, but I'm playing it in the key of G now. All right, well, I hope you've got a few ideas from this very simple little chord arrangement. It's a lot of fun to just sit around and take something like this and play with it and see what you can come up with. Learn it in the key of E first, then try transposing it and playing it in a different key. And then try playing it in a different style. Put a shuffle to it, or kind of change the feel of it. All right, we'll see you next week for something new.